are on the cusp of the first card of 2022 UFC Vegas 46. Giga Chikadze versus Calvin Kattar is just about upon us, and I know it's been far too long since we've last had a fight inside the octagon. It feels like years, when in reality it's been like a few weeks. Do us going this crazy over a few weeks, or will we be considered addicts, Blake?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can be addicted to good things.
Yes, you can. Just like watch.
I would argue everyone is addicted to water.
Ooh, I've met some people that I really should consider getting addicted to water.
I love that shit.
Water's great, dude. I've had like over a gallon today. I'm feeling good, feeling hydrated. You know, friendly.
You ever try out Mark Wahlberg's water?
No. Is it different?
Yeah, it's got like electrolytes and stuff.
So, Gatorade?
It's called Aqua Hydrate.
It's
pretty sick. I think he's does it with like P. Diddy or something hella random. Like they're both co-investors in it.
Is it like super overpriced for what it is?
I think it's reasonable. See, but me though, like a favorite pastime of mine is just going to local grocery stores and just skimming through the water aisle and picking out a water that I have not tried yet. Seeing how it holds up against good old Kirkland water at Costco.
Or, just tap water.
Dude, I'm so against tap water. Don't ever bring that up around me. Don't ever. People that drink water from the sink, I mean, unless you have like one of those filters attached to your, the head or whatever, I can't do it, man. I cannot do it.
Is it the taste?
It is definitely the taste.
What about,
and it's just...
What, do you not have water that comes through your fridge? Do we not have that?
It's just the thought of it. Well, the water that comes through the fridge goes through a filter.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Moving to a house somewhat recently and having like a fridge with a built-in water filter instead of having to do the whole Brita BS, it's so nice. Especially
Saves you some time, energy.
Well, especially when you got roommates that never filled up.
Oh, man. Selfish.
Right? Unbelievable.
You should just get personal Britas at that point and then just like put your name on it.
Or you kill your roommates.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like you got to bring up death threats as well. Like that definitely helps you.
And if you couldn't guess, this is a show about MMA and not water. I promise you. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome, because you better get used to it. We get sidetracked often and frequently, and we have a good time with it. But what we got ahead for you guys today, of course, if you haven't checked out yet, go ahead, go on over. Once you're done listening to this one, go on over, check out our 2021 UFC award show that we dropped last week. Bunch of categories for that. That one was a blast, but go ahead, check that one out if you haven't. But what we got, we're going to take a look into 2022, take a look at some fights that need to happen, some bold predictions, and also we're going to go through and give our predictions for who the champion is going to be at the end of the year for every division. And of course, we got another What the Blank with Blake, and then I think the thing I'm most excited about is that it's finally back. We got 5 cards, so you guys know what that means. It's time for the return of Blake's Bangers. And so it's going to be a great time. I know Blake had his work cut out for him with this card. Not necessarily good or bad thing. We'll take a look at the card, of course, but a lot of great stuff is coming up. Before I hop into things, of course, you can find the rest of our great MMA content over at thefourthandlong.com/MMA. Go check our recent interviews with Coach Joey Rodriguez, with our boy Steve of Steve James Sports, with a great amount of high-quality interviews with the top guys in the UFC promotion. And I think one of my most favorite ones recently was his interview with Yuri Prochazka. Some really great stuff right there. And, of course, Fourth and Long Trucker hats are going on right now. And, Blake, I just thought, what I'm going to do today, I thought of it today, just got to send it, for each of the next, I think, 10 or more orders, and what I'm going off of is it's $30 to pre-order right now. We'll get those out to you as soon as we can. But with every sale of the hat, I'll donate 5 to your charity of choice. Of course, just leave down the notes of the Google form you fill out, and you can pre-order that over at thefourthandlong.com/apparel. And it's the same place where you can get some bitchin' certified banger collection t-shirts. Tri-blend cotton, flexing it right now. it's good stuff. Hopefully Blake gets one in the middle soon, because USPS has been a pain in the ass and have been a little slacking this year so far, but hopefully Blake gets his edition very soon, and so should you guys as well. But Blake, I've talked enough. Let's talk about the UFC, and let's take a look at 2022. We've already had a really solid fights that have been announced so far this year, but let's take a look at some of them that need to happen this year. In your opinion, what grudge matches do we need settled, or what super fights do we possibly need booked?
Okay, so first off, I think we could start with title fights. There's a couple fights that I think absolutely have to happen and are scheduled already. At least one of them is. Number one, namely being Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Mm-hmm. We have to have that decided this year so we can have a clear picture in the bantamweight division, like who's the actual champ. No more interim, no more paper champ, whatever. And then next, I would say the rematch between Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena, just to solidify if Pena really is that girl in the bantamweight division, or excuse me, that woman, or is Amanda Nunes, was that a fluke? Was that an off night? Whatever the case may be, we need to have that settled as well, because I think there's a lot of questions on both sides that need to be answered. Now, if we're going into just grudge matches, I think the number one fight on everybody's list is going to be Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, the trilogy. Mm-hmm. I mean, that fight sells itself. The press conference, the back and forth between the two fighters, it would just be phenomenal. I mean, even if they did that for Tough, that would be crazy. I don't think anyone's ever thrown that idea out.
Wait, or what about we do Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier for Tough?
Yeah, that'd be cool too. I don't know. I just think, I mean, either or.
Nate Diaz on Tough.
Nate Diaz on Tough would be sweet.
Dude, imagine having him as your coach.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be probably smoking a lot of weed, but hopefully winning a lot of fights.
GSP had that one jiu-jitsu coach that came into Tough drunk. And so is Nate going to have some coaches that come in high?
I think they're just perpetually high. I don't think it's like... Yeah, I think they'd probably be high more often than they are sober.
What's that Tough House going to smell like?
Skunks. But to continue, I mean, I think some other interesting fights. Definitely, I'd love to see the Oliveira versus Gaethje fight. Mm-hmm. We'll see if we get that. I don't know. Another fight that's been scheduled, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
Another fight that just sells itself.
It's kind of a bummer that we're not going to get them for Tough, but I guess I understand it because it seems super obvious that they're booking this now as a non-title main event UFC 272 just because they couldn't do Volk versus the Korean Zombie then, so they needed something filmed for 272.
They needed something.
Yeah, that's probably the case, right?
Because not only did they push Volk's fight back, didn't they also move
Algio and Yan,
the co-main Algio and Yan, right? So yeah, they basically had two spots to fill up and needed a big headline.
How about this for a co-main event? Dustin Poirier versus Nate Diaz.
Yeah, that'd be great, but I mean, it doesn't sound like that's moving in the right direction at all.
I don't think we're going to get that fight, no matter how much we pitch. I don't think we're.
It almost looks like they're using each other for leverage. I don't know. Or at least Nate's using Dustin for leverage.
If there is going to be one fighter of the two that didn't want that fight the most, who would it be?
I think both of them want that fight. I don't know what the reasoning is for it not happening. Especially if they're both publicly coming out and saying, "I want to fight you." I really don't. That's the one thing in MMA right now that I don't understand.
The rumor is Nate Diaz doesn't actually want that fight.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for Diaz, but all I'm saying is I've never seen two fighters publicly come out and say that they want to fight each other. Maybe besides like Leon Edwards and Jorge Masvidal, and it just doesn't get put together. But even their fight got put together. It fell out, but it still was scheduled. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know if the UFC is pushing back. I don't know if Nate's doing something behind the scenes. I doubt Dustin's doing something behind the scenes. I feel like Dustin's a pretty open book when it comes to fight negotiations and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting story that we'll have to see play out.
Absolutely. I think if I want to throw a couple fights in the hat, I think number one on my list is going to be in Jacek versus Weili too.
Oh, that's a good one
Yes,
too.
and now Joanna is coming back into the mix, and she has spoken out saying that she would be down for that Weili fight. So it's almost like the ball is in Weili's court at this point. If they can get that done, sweet Dan, that'd be a hell of a fight, because the first one it is the greatest women's fight of all time, without a doubt. And if we want to remember, there was a lot of controversy in that fight too. Weili won by split decision, with me included. A lot of people thought that Joanna actually won that fight. So that's an easy one to promote, easy one to sell. And if we end up getting Trilogy out of that one, no one is going to complain. And then
No.
I think the one thing I would like to see eventually, and I do think we'll get it this year, is Hamza Chimaev versus Kamaru Usman. I think we get that fight.
It's a little early. We'll see. I think he still has at least one more test to pass. But yeah, I mean, that would be a sweet fight as long as he keeps showing well.
Absolutely.
What about Glover? You want to see Glover? Is that a must see fight? Glover versus Yuri, maybe? Or
I wouldn't put that on the must see. It's not as exciting. I would say, no offense to Glover. I just want to see Yuri. I think
that's kind of where I'm at too. I want to see
Is
Yuri.
it wrong to say that Glover isn't a draw? Is it disrespectful? Because I don't want to disrespect him, because hell of a career. I'm absolutely blown away that he's champion, but is he an exciting champion?
I think it is a skill that certain fighters, it comes more natural to them, like Conor McGregor, obviously, for example, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, Colby Covington a little bit. Like, they're able to make a spectacle out of it.
Yeah.
Glover, that's not really his style.
He's
more
too
of the traditional. Yeah, he's more of the traditional, like, I respect you, you respect me, we respect the game. And that there's nothing wrong with that. There's going to be a large population out there that completely support that. But unfortunately, you're not going to be able to draw in the casual eyes that just want to see someone say F you to somebody. So yeah, I don't have a problem with you saying that. And I don't think he would have a problem with you saying that, because it's just the honest truth. He has to do something out there to either capture, the collective community's eyes, or go out there and say something that gets people invested. And that's really what it comes down to. And you know what I find interesting, how you bring up Kamaru. I'm actually surprised you bring up Hamza and not Leon.
Oh, well, maybe it's because Leon Edwards himself. If you want to talk about people that aren't a draw, you can talk about Leon Edwards too.
Man, I thought you were singing a different tune like a week or two ago.
Well, no, I think he deserves the title shot, but that doesn't make him a draw necessarily.
Doesn't make him a draw.
No.
But is it a must-see fight? Because it's like something that even Trevor Whitman has come out and spoke publicly about and said I would like personally to have that fight on my resume, leading Kamaru Usman, or not leading, but helping him prepare for that fight again, because I wasn't involved the first time.
I wouldn't know if I would call it a must-see, because when I think about it, if they put that fight together, then I will be super happy with it, right? I'll be totally cool that we're going to get this fight. We get to see it. Get to see the rematch. But at the same time, if we don't get that fight, am I going to be heartbroken? I don't think so. So that's kind of how I determine whether it's a must-see or not. Like, can I live without seeing that fight? Yeah, probably.
That's fair.
Yeah. I feel like it's right. Like, I do think that in terms of respect, in terms of the rankings, in terms of resume, that the logical next fight for Kamaru Usman would be defending his title against Leon Edwards. Is that going to happen, though? Because those are two totally different, questions.
Yeah.
Especially in the UFC.
Absolutely.
Is just one hell of a beast. And next thing we're going to talk about is it's time for some hot takes. It's time for some bold predictions. It's time for us to make a statement, put our stamp in it, in something that we believe might be out there, but something that is going to happen this year. So, Blake, would you like to take the floor on this one? Give me like one or maybe two bold predictions you got going into 2022.
Bold predictions. I like how you gave me a heads up for this question.
I know sometimes it's one of these things where you kind of got to think about it a little bit, you know? Because you got,
yeah, I mean,
when it comes to bold prediction, you got to get like a good one.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of right now.
Well, it's okay. Here, can I give you one? I'm
sure,
not sure.
Let's go ahead. What is your bold prediction?
I'm sure if I necessarily believe it, but one of my bold predictions for 2022 is that Aljamain Sterling will retain his championship against Petr Yan. And yeah, that could be seen. But the thing about Algio is that I do think that he's going to be able to learn from his first fight with Petr. Obviously, there's a lot that went wrong in that first round. Then a lot went right in the second round because he is walking around with the belt now and he's gained championship money. But at the same time, it was a lopsided fight. But also, Aljamain Sterling was on a hell of a tear going into that fight. And Petr Yan was just really good fighter. So I like... When it comes to actual fight, would I predict that Aljamain Sterling will be Petr Yan when it comes to the Suck My Pick title? No, I will not. I will go with Yan. But at the same time, I do like Algio's chances a lot more in the second fight than I think a lot of people are giving him credit for.
That's very fair. Okay, well, for my bold prediction, I think that I might have to go with Robert Whittaker dethroning Israel Adesanya.
Ooh, I like that. Yes, sir. Kind of the same sense of the rematch.
Yeah, I just feel like he's with the comments he's made recently. Even Adesanya has taken recognition to it and said that he has to respect him a little bit more this go around, because Robert has looked inward and has accepted the loss rather than blaming it on certain factors or whatever the case may be. He recognized it came from ego. The defeat came from ego. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important first step, especially in this game, or in, I don't know what you want to call this, sport. I know people get offended when you say it's a sport, because it really isn't. You're trying to kill someone.
Sounds like the best sport ever.
Right. So I just think that with that level of awareness, personal awareness, he's going to be able to like really analyze, like, where were my weak spots? What could I have done better? Let me not fall in those same traps that I fell in this first go around.
Or he said he wants to clinch more.
I mean, yeah, and he even said, I'm not stupid. Like, I literally watched somebody beat this guy not too long ago, Jan Blachowicz. He laid out the blueprint. Adesanya says, that's not the case. But at the same time, I'm sure there's something you can draw from that fight that can hopefully, or, whatever, give him an advantage in some way.
Absolutely.
I think it's not far-fetched to say that he can get the job done.
No, I really, and also there's a lot that went wrong going to his first fight, because, he didn't fight for over a year. He was coming off a bad, and like anything when it comes to knees, especially ACL, that's going to be a tough one to come back from. And also, Israel Adesanya was just red hot at the time. He was the next big thing. So,
and now Whittaker has taken out a few, at least a couple. I know he's taken out
Gastelum and Cannonier.
Cannonier, Gastelum, and Till.
Yeah.
So at least three, right?
3 solid fighters.
Yeah.
I would.
So now he's on the hot streak, and Izzy's still. Don't get me wrong, he's not hot, but he isn't undefeated.
Not as hot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another one I'll throw at you is that Jamal Hill will be a top 3 light heavyweight by the end of this year. Right now, he's ranked number 12, and the top 3 light heavyweights in the world right now. Of course, you got Glover is champ, but then 1, 2, and 3 is Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prochazka, and Alexander Rakic. And right now, we're set for Alexander versus Blachowicz coming up this year, and we're assuming that it's going to be Prochazka and Glover. But Jamal Hill is one of my favorite prospects in the entire promotion right now. Ray and I were talking about over on Card Stocks. Ray Rodriguez, our resident card expert in the industry, he is saying that one of the fighters, if you want to invest in someone card wise, go for that Jamal Hill stock right now. And I am buying into Jamal Hill. I think he has the stand-up game, and he could definitely develop a ground game. He was kind of thrown to the deep end against Paul Craig, and obviously it didn't end up well. He ended up with a dislocated elbow. But also, Paul Craig is arguably the greatest grappler in the world. So, no, not a bad learning experience there, but, man, he's such a good prospect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, to be fair, the 5 to 10 range in light heavyweight isn't that deep either. So I could definitely see him making this jump all the way from outside the 10th to inside the top 5.
Okay, I'll give you my last bold prediction for 2022.
Give it.
John Jones makes his heavyweight debut.
Now, if you told me this last year, I wouldn't really say that was much of a bold prediction, but this... I like that. Who does he debut against? Be even bolder.
I think it really depends on who wins this title match, but it seems like right now it's leaning towards Stipe.
Would you rather see John Jones fight Ngannou or Gon? Because Ngannou is a freak fight, but Gon maybe a little more stylistically comparable to John Jones.
I'd probably rather see John deal with just the freak athlete of Ngannou. Well, I mean, they're both freak athletes, really.
Anyone at heavyweight like that is
just the scary power of Ngannou. The fact that he really is a human sledgehammer. No offense to Thiago Santos, but
Thiago has some proving to do after his last couple fights.
Yeah, definitely, especially that Rakic one.
Oh, it's such a bad fight.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I would definitely rather see Ngannou just because the wow factor. Mm-hmm. But don't get me wrong, like Gon versus Jones would be just a chess match.
Dude.
And I mean, yeah, I still would like to see how John's speed translates up at heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Is he going to be as fast as Gon? Is he going to lose a little bit of that speed? What's going to be the case there? Because I think if he loses a little bit of speed and Gon beats Ngannou, Gon might freaking just absolutely blow him out of the water.
Gon, depending on how this title fight goes in a couple weeks, Gon might be heavyweight champion for a while.
Yeah, seriously. Unless he gets caught. That's really the only thing that I can see stopping him.
Or unless Derek Lewis fights him anywhere but Houston. Apparently. Man, who knows? But let's hear your hot takes. Sound off in the comments on YouTube or Rumble, or hit us up on our socials on Twitter or on Instagram. Of course, or best of all, you can leave a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts. And the best thing you can do is, another great thing you can do is go on over, find all of our stuff at thefourthandlong.com. But the last thing we're going to do here, Blake, we're going to kind of rapid fire a little bit, because if we go too deep into it, it will take an hour with how many divisions there are in the UFC. At least it's not boxing, thank God, with a division every 3.5 pounds. But we're going to go through and give our predictions for who is going to be champion by the end of the year. And we're going to start with the women here. First things first is the women's strawweight division. Right now it's headed by Rose Namajunas, who holds gold by the end of 2022.
I'm going to say the only person that we haven't really gotten a good look at, I think, is Marina Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. That's like the only dark horse, I think. So I'm going to play it safe and say Rose. I think she gets the job done against Carla. I think the next fight is either going to be maybe the Joanna or Wei Li trilogy. I doubt it, though. Probably going to end up being Marina Rodriguez. So... yeah, I'd like to see. I think it's going to be Rose.
I would you're right about Marina Rodriguez. She's pretty much like the only one, in my opinion, that it's going to come down to Rose and Marina right there. But I'm going to agree with you. I will say that Thug Rose has a couple title defenses this year, and makes it out with her gold around her waist. Because
yeah, I'd say at least 2.
She's only getting better, especially Trevor Whitman, man. She's only getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Such freaking awesome to watch fight. And next one is the women's flyweight division. Of course, that's headed by Valentina Shevchenko. Blake, can anyone challenge Shevchenko this year?
No.
Super easy answer. I think the only person that might be able to is Casey O'Neill. just because she's broken into division out super strong, and
we still have so much we need to see from her. We still have so much. Just because someone gets on a 3-5 win streak doesn't mean they can compete with the best.
Exactly.
She's what, 24 years old?
Yeah.
I'd love to see what she can do next. I'd love to see her get higher ranked opponents, but let's settle that down right now.
Yeah, but also
I need to see something more from that girl before I can even come close to saying she can stand in the same octagon as Valentina and not get severely injured.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of thinking it'd be tough to go from 15 to title fight in the same year, but it's also the women's divisions, and
not in the flyweight. I mean, if she gets a really impressive victory early, in the first quarter of the year, she could get another 2 fights this year and really break into the top 5. It wouldn't take much.
Yeah, but no, as of right now, there's no one that can even hold a match to Shevchenko. She's just really, really freaking good. Who knows? Because once we get to the bantamweight division, right now, of course, that's headed by Juliana Pena, who's going to be champion by the end of the year.
I want to say Amanda Nunes. I think she gets that rematch done and gets her belt back. But we'll see. I'm going to go Amanda Nunes because I just think that she's just been so dominant in the past, and I think she regains her fire and figures out how to make it work at bantamweight again.
Can I give you a hot take for this one? Might be a little bit bold prediction.
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Champion,
your life. Live it how you want.
Champion by the bantamweight champion by the end of 2022.
Let me guess who you're gonna say. You're gonna say Valentina.
I am going to say Valentina Shevchenko. Yes.
I saw it coming. I saw it coming a mile away.
It's going to be one of 3 fights. It's going to be Shevchenko.
That's a good one,
Pena.
though. Yeah, because if Pena wins the rematch, they probably make that super fight.
Yeah, exactly. Or if for a reason they don't get Pena versus Nunes too, it's probably going to be Shevchenko versus Pena.
Yeah, most likely. I don't think there's another bantamweight that really deserves it right now.
I think Shevchenko beats Pena.
Oh, and I think so.
I still believe that Amanda Nunes is a better fighter than Pena. I think Shevchenko won that second fight against Amanda Nunes, along with a lot of other people out there. I don't know, man. I feel like Shevchenko is in a bigger prime than Nunes is at this point. And if those two faced off right now, I'd probably pick Shevchenko. Am I crazy for that?
Between Nunes and Shevchenko? I mean, if they're fighting at 135 and you just saw her most recent performance, no, I don't think you're crazy for that. I think Shevchenko is, with the eye test, she just looks a little bit more talented in almost every area than Juliana Pena does, no disrespect. She just looks a little sharper. So, yeah, I mean, if Pena's striking was giving Nunes a little bit of trouble, imagine what Shevchenko could do. And it's odd that she hasn't had as much trouble with Shevchenko that she did with Pena, which leads me to believe something might have been going on last camp. I don't know what the case might have been, but it just seems a little strange that she was having that much trouble and gassed out so quickly.
It was interesting there, but we're going to jump into the men's now, starting, of course, with the flyweight division. Right now it's headed by Brandon Moreno. Blake, who heads it by the end of the year?
We're keeping it with the king of Legos.
Yes.
Brandon Moreno.
I like that, dude. I hope so, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the champ by the end of the year is going to be Alexandre Pantoja.
A guy that's already been beat by Brandon Moreno?
Yeah, I think it might have a little redemption arc coming up this year. Maybe a late fight of the year. It was he's super competitive. Or it's going to be Askar Askarov. Probably the next title shot is going to be between the winner of France and Askarov, or Car France and Askarov. But
yeah, I already think that's kind of a tough ask to have 3 defenses in 1 year, but we'll see.
Well, at least it starts in January, so that makes it a little bit more plausible.
Yeah.
And I feel like Brandon Moreno is one of those fighting champion kind of guys. At least could be active. But it's hard to beat Kamaru Usman to have 3 title defenses in 266 days. Which is freaking remarkable. I mean, Yeah, Kamaru Usman is a really, really good fighting. Next one is going to be the bantamweight divisions. Right now, it's technically Aljamain and Sterling. Of course, he has a fight with Petr Yan taking place at UFC 273 here in a few months. Who heads the division?
I'm gonna go with Petr Yan. Mm-hmm. I think he beats Aljamain. I think he beats TJ if they fight. And that's really the only two people that I see standing out right now that are going to get a title shot.
I would say it's between three guys. It's between Piotr, TJ, and Jose Aldo. It would be incredible if Jose could finish top of the division by the end of the year, but I do think Petr Yan is going to be good. He's probably going to end up as the best bantamweight of all time. So I'm gonna roll with Petr Yan because he's kind of a bad mother trucker.
Yeah, he's got some important fights coming up this year, so we'll see how he holds up.
Exactly. I think he gets at least 2 fights this year. If he takes the title, he'll probably have 1 defense, maybe 2. Piotr seems like the guy who wouldn't care if he keeps getting fights lined up, because those Russian guys are just psycho. And I don't think they care about a whole lot of things, except gold around their waist. And then we're going to hop into the featherweight division. Of course, right now it's Alexander Volkanovsky. His next fight is going to be UFC 273 against the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. Who heads the division?
Volkanovsky.
Not Josh Emmett?
Nope. Not Josh Emmett. Sorry, Josh.
Yeah. Dude. Who can contend with Volk?
Holloway.
That's it, though?
That's all I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. Do you think... I assume if Volk is able to have a successful title defense against Chan Sung Jung, probably they're just going to book Holloway versus Volk later in the year, you think? Probably, right?
You think they're going to book who versus Volkanovsky versus Holloway?
Yeah, book the trilogy later in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Holloway's injured right now, so he can't fight.
Did you hear what?
That's definitely the first contender.
Happened? Like, what's the injury?
Nope.
Cool.
I don't think it's been released yet.
Yeah,
he just said it re-aggravated a previous injury, so no idea.
It's a bummer, but also I'm not going to complain. I don't want to get into whether he deserves this fight or not, but I'm not going to complain about saying Volk versus the Korean Zombie. I'm not.
You're not sold on it?
No, I'm not going to complain about it.
Oh, you're not going to complain about it? Yeah, I don't care.
That's a fun fight.
It's a good fight. He's a good fighter. Everyone wanted to see him fight for the title years ago, and now he's finally getting a chance. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I think he might have fought against Jose for the title.
He had one title shot. Obviously, didn't get that one, but not complaining.
Yeah, he broke his shoulder or something in that fight. I can't remember exactly what happened. But I don't think he got finished in that fight. It was a good fight. Mm-hmm. I'd have to rewatch it, though, to remind myself. But yeah, that's a good fight. That's a guy that's been around and, a wealth of experience. He's fought the who's who in that division. Mm-hmm. Maybe he hasn't come out on the winning side all the time, but, I mean, he still puts up... I mean, look at his fight against Ortega. Look at his fight against Yair Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was winning that fight the whole time until that Hail Mary at the end.
Yeah. Essentially.
He's fought everybody. So I think I have no problem with this. It's a good fight for Volk. I mean, is it the number one contender? No. But is it a guy that has a lot of respect amongst his peers? I think so, yes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that holds a lot of weight.
Absolutely.
And not to mention, South Korea, he represents the whole country. UFC's always going to get behind that. If you represent a whole country, that's views, that's money.
Especially Volk being from Australia, not a whole lot
of
Australian fighters there as well. You have Whitaker and pretty much it.
He's the champ, so I mean it's
exactly.
But I'm talking about challengers.
Oh yeah,
the champ he's already got his viewership set in.
Yeah,
but in scheduling a fight, you're looking at all the factors. Mm-hmm. Are you going to just bring up a guy that is a top contender and Josh Emmett? Or are you going to bring a guy that has literally a whole country behind him?
That's Korean Zombie, absolutely.
United States is a very tough country to unite. Mm-hmm. We have 50 states, right? Yep. I hope I get that right. Not everyone's going to like the same shit. It's just how it goes. South Korea, a lot smaller. They're going to all love Korean Zombie. That's just my thought process on it. And I think there's really no necessarily wrong answer here, but you're not going to please everybody. That's just how these things go.
Absolutely. You could say that one again. We're going to hop into what might be the toughest division in all of the UFC when it comes to the lightweight division. Is Charles Oliveira going to be champ by the end of next year?
I don't think so, no.
I don't know.
I'll
be easy and just go Islam.
Champ. I think Islam might get beat by Dariush.
I do too. But if he gets past him, it's just Islam is going to win by spectacular fashion, but he'll just suffocate pretty much anyone. The old Dagestani way.
He's definitely got the clearest path to victory, no matter who he's facing. But we'll see. We'll see how he holds up. Is he going to have the same championship mentality that Khabib had? He's already been knocked out once in his career. I don't think Khabib ever got knocked out.
I don't think Khabib ever lost.
Exactly. That's what I'm alluding to.
Thank you. Yep. I'll just hit the nail on the head.
We'll see. We'll see. If I had to guess someone to be the lightweight champion, though, I'd probably have to stick with status quo and say Charles Oliveira. I mean, he hasn't shown us that he has any quit in him yet. Mm-hmm. So someone legitimately has to try and kill him in there. At least the current version of Oliveira, blonde Oliveira.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty accurate right there. And hopping to the welterweights, it's going to be Kamaru Usman. I think that's pretty easy.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say it was going to be Hamzat.
No, I still think Kamaru Usman's are the Hamzat, though.
I don't know. I think I'm getting the Hamzat vibe from you.
I want to see Hamzat challenge. Kamaru Usman is going to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. Now, I know Hamzat's boy Alexander Gustafsson is saying that, but I'm not sold yet.
All right, well, we'll see.
What about you?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to beat Usman.
Yeah,
at least not right now.
He's too freaking good at this point. But we heard your bold prediction that Robert Whittaker is going to take out Israel Adesanya, but who ends the year as champion of the middleweight division?
Whittaker. I mean, he's beat everybody else. Who's going to beat him? Nobody. Unless Izzy beats him again, I don't think anyone in that top 5, top 7 can take him.
I like that. Maybe not the crazy psycho Sean Strickland.
No.
Fair enough. Moving to the light heavyweight division, who's going to hold gold? I
think Yuri Prochazka.
Yeah,
is going to hold the gold.
We're in agreement, sir. I'll ride with Yuri Prochazka there as well. He'll probably beat Glover unless he gets taken to the ground, and then if he does end up on the canvas, it's probably Glover's fight.
He's got to stay off his back. That's the number one thing. If you get taken down, you better bust your ass to get up like there's no tomorrow. Cannot stay on the ground against that guy. He's a shark.
Glover's ridiculous when it comes to the ground because, most guys, it's like alpha when you get on the ground, but for Glover, it's pretty much a death sentence.
Yeah. He's been there for probably how old is he? 40 something?
He's probably spent,
30, at least 36 years of his life doing that stuff, I would imagine.
I'd say he spent probably 10,000 hours on his back through his life.
At least. Yeah. It's probably been more than that even.
Dude it's quite ridiculous. And the caveat us off is going to be the heavyweight division. This might be one of the harder ones to call. But, of course, we get the big fight between Ngannou and Gon at UFC 270. But who's going to end the year?
Tai Tuivasa.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. I know you were waiting to cut that one, weren't you?
Maybe.
Man. Heavyweight champ. I think I'm going to have to go... Because this affects this base. You're basically asking me to choose my pick for UFC 270.
I was going to say I think whoever wins 270 is champion by the end of the year. I think whoever wins 270 is going to be champion for a while.
It's like My head says Gone, but my heart says Ngannou.
I'm going with my heart this time.
I'm going to go with my head since you're going with your heart.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those two, huh? I think we can agree on that.
I think it's going to be Gone. I think he just has so many tools in his utility belt that he can whip out at any point.
All I know is I was doubting Ngannou going to the rematch with Stipe just because I didn't think he was technical enough of a fighter. And then he stuffed that takedown, and then I apologize for everything bad I've ever said about Francis. So if we continue to see him evolve even more from that Stipe fight, he's going to be a really, really hard guy to take out, you know? And especially against anyone, any size. It only takes one from Ngannou. It takes a little bit.
4-ounce gloves.
We haven't seen that one punch knockout power from Gane yet. We've seen combo power against Lewis, but we haven't seen that one punch. So,
nope. I think you have it or you don't. I don't think you just magically get a KO someday. Mm-hmm. I think either you have that power or you have that accuracy to shut someone's lights off, or you don't. Yep. And you have to kind of get it done another way, whether it be TKO, whatever the case may be.
And Ngannou does have that one. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw it on over into, before we get to our UFC Vegas 46 predictions and preview, as well as the Blake's Bangers, the return of them, we're going to hop into What the Blank with Blake, as Blake fills in the blank with 3 statements with a blank. I always love saying that. It's so much fun. You have no idea how much I really do enjoy that. But for those that don't know how this works, I have 3 statements for Blake. There's going to be a blank part of one of the statements, and Blake, it's up to Blake to fill in with whether one word, a phrase, an entire essay. I don't care. It's all up to him. But Blake, the first blank you're going to fill in the blank for from Blake is that the pay-per-view price bump is blank.
Absolutely insane. I think it's stupid. So it's $75 now, right? $74.99. Yep.
Is that with
do a little quick math
ESPN
here.
Plus included, or is that just separately?
No, this is completely
so $80 for a pay-per-view, essentially.
Basically, because you already have the $5 or I think $6, right?
Oh yeah, ESPN Plus might have just upped it too.
It's like $5.99 or $7. Oh. $6.99 or $7.99. I can't remember what it is now. But either way, that's $900 that you're paying for the $74.99 pay-per-view price. Because let's just give it an average of 12. I think that's usually what it averages out to, is 12 per year. Mm-hmm. That's $899.88 to be a fan. I think that's absolutely insane. I just don't get it. It used to be
so expensive.
I think as recent as like 2012, it was like $45 mm-hmm. or something like that. What the hell happened?
Hey, I know that inflation is crazy in the U.S., but it's not this crazy to justify a increase in that much in that short amount of time.
It increases by $5 each year, like the previous, I think, 2 or 3 years.
We're probably $100 soon.
What's the reasoning?
Dana,
I want them to come out and address it, because it just makes no sense.
Our fires are at least
I understand your company went public. I understand Endeavor kind of holds you by the balls now, but what the hell is going on here? Like, it's almost like a slap in the face to the people. Like, I think I bought every pay-per-view last year with my own money, barely asked for money from any of my friends. If they gave it to me, sick. If not, I had no problem paying that. And I know it sounds a little childish, me freaking out over a $5 increase, but it's not because of this $5 increase. It's because I've been a dedicated fan for years now, mm-hmm. like going on, I think probably 6. This is probably gonna be my 6th, like full-fledged, like fully invested year of watching the UFC, and it just seems like every year there is a bump in price. Whereas NFL, there's nothing.
It's consistent.
It's the consistent same TV deal. If you do TV, if you do streaming, it's not gonna freaking change mm-hmm. unless it's the streaming services, maybe. But you're not getting a $5 price hike every freaking year for, Dana's own pleasure. I don't get it.
It's so tough because the UFC and MMA, it's still a growing sport. But you're making it, it's a growing sport and one of the most niche ones in the U.S., but it's also one of the most expensive ones, the hardest one to watch.
It's like, do you have cable TV? or do you buy UFC events?
Yeah.
That's basically what it comes down
$80
to.
a month.
It's crazy.
Just for pay-per-views, it's
absolutely
$80
crazy.
a month to watch UFC. That's not including like Fight Pass and stuff like that either.
Yeah. And especially with the Rona nowadays, I mean, people aren't having parties as much as they used to. It's harder to get people to come over and pitch in nowadays than it used to be. So I don't get the reasoning behind it, especially when they're not giving the fighters any more pieces of the pie. Like if they were telling us, okay, we're increasing fighter pay, we're giving them benefits, blah 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 blah, I would be like, okay, sick. Like this money's going towards something that,
you know.
Yeah, like that makes sense. But they're just saying, nah, $5 increase, take it or leave it. Don't care if you buy it or not, someone will.
Essentially,
and that attitude, dude, is going to lose you a lot of dedicated fans, I believe, or maybe not lose it, but I guarantee you they ain't going to be buying that shit. No. They're going to be streaming it for free.
Yeah, it's quite disappointing. Please stop, Dana. There's no need to do that.
It's insane, dude. That's more than buying a new video game every freaking month.
Yeah. And that's why Xbox Game Pass is one of the greatest things to ever happen to video games. Shout out to Xbox Game Pass.
UFC Fight. That's another thing we didn't even bring up. UFC Fight Pass. You have to have a freaking subscription to Fight Pass. You have to have a subscription to ESPN Plus. You have to have a freaking $75 to set aside per month for a pay-per-view. I mean, come on, dude. Come on.
And then also, let's talk about buying just UFC apparel. That stuff is so expensive on the UFC website.
Never buy off the UFC site. Never. Literally never. No. Never. Go to the fighter, their Twitter, their Instagram,
they have
whatever.
Their own gear.
If you want fighter gear, they have their own gear that I guarantee you looks way cooler.
I guarantee you paying some more money
way
too.
Cheaper. Yeah. So screw the UFC in that sense, man. Like, I'm done with that crap. They got me pissed off.
Yeah. Let's try and make you happy. Let's look at the positive next one, Blake, because the next statement is
Would you call me? You call me Blank?
I call you Blake.
My name is Blake, not Blank.
What the?
I'm getting confused.
I don't care, Blank. All right, the next Blake.
Yeah, you better watch out. I'm not answering this question.
Blank is the best fight that's been announced so far in 2022.
Colby versus Jorge. I don't even want you to finish that sentence.
A little bit of an easy one there. And then let's make you think with the last one then, Blake. Because Blank will be the breakout star of 2022. Why is it Blood Diamond? Or whatever his name is.
Who the hell is Blood Diamond?
I think Blood Diamond is like a fight. I think he's out of City Kickboxing, actually.
Blood Diamond?
Yeah. His name is...
Never heard of
the mystery. He's making his debut at UFC 271. And
I'll have to have my eyes on that guy.
And the UFC literally lists his name as Blood Diamond. And yeah, he is from City Kickboxing.
Breakout star of 2022. I mean, it's super tough to say because everyone that I would want to say is basically already broken out. I mean, God, I wish I had like a list of like I want to say that one dude, one guy that I'm really, really high on. I don't know if anyone's as high as, well, I know no one's as high as I am in general, but on this guy specifically, he's a Mongolian.
Oh,
you know the guy, the bantamweight?
Shavkat? Rachmanov? Right?
What?
Wait, no. I think that's the Kakis name. There's like a Shavkat Rachmanov, I think, is his name.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's Dana. It's like Dana.
Batragel.
Yes, Batgerel,
that
or whatever.
one.
That guy is a sniper.
And he's fighting soon, right?
I'm pretty sure
I think he just got a fight announced, like within the last day or so.
Let me see. See if he has a fight announced.
I'm super sure it is against a decent name. I think is.
Do you think Sherdog would list it?
Probably.
It's
even though it's all about Tapology gang. All right.
Tapology doesn't have it listed either. It looks like.
Unbelievable. I could have sworn.
Oh wait, nope, they do. They do.
See,
Montel Jackson.
Yeah, see, hey, Tapology,
I was gonna say we were just
talking
about
All
it.
my homies hate Sure Dog. We love Tapology. Where are my fellow tappers at? That's how you start. Is that how you start a war on MMA Twitter?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone really.
No one cares.
I don't think anyone's going to stand on a soapbox for either of those sites. But Tapology is pretty clutch. I'd say Tapology is a tier above Sure Dog.
I just think it's a better looking website is all.
Yeah, it does look smoother too.
I use it for most of my stuff. I'll be honest there. Also, shout out to Tapology because that's where it helped me compile my list for all the awards this year.
Don't be saying that out loud, bro. You gotta, let the people think you're original.
When I need 50 fights to focus in on, I'll focus in on those. I'm not gonna lie. Like, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be honest with you. I don't have the time to be able to look through every single fight from this year. I run 4 different shows and an entire social media account. So I cheat a little bit. It is what it is, man.
It's pathetic.
Blake, shut up. You talk for an hour each week, all right? And you retweet stuff.
It's pathetic.
I don't need to hear from you. I need better employees. I think is. No offense.
I'm the best.
You know what?
Just like Rose Namajunas would say.
I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to dispute that because I absolutely respect you, Blake. But we're going to hop into the last segment of the show is going to be us take a look at UFC Vegas 46. Of course, this is going to be the fight night between Calvin Kattar and Giga Chikadze. This is going to be a great card. It's nice having Pereira. They found a fight for him, so he's still on the card. We got a nice mix between heavyweights, featherweights and middleweights. We got a good mix of weight classes that are going to be represented on this card, as well as a couple of debuts as well. So I am looking forward to this one. It's going to be great having fights back, and it's going to be a early card if you're in the best time zone, which is, of course, the Mountain time zone. It's a 5 o'clock card, so honestly, a really great time for that one. But Blake, it's time, baby. Let's bring it back. Blake's bangers for UFC Vegas 46. Hit us with them, please, because it's been far too long.
All right, first set of bangers for the year. Yes. We're going to go with a newcomer to the UFC, a guy that recently had a victory on the Contender Series in a very impressive fashion. One of the slickest hooks I've seen.
You can hardly tell it landed.
Vyacheslav? Hope that was okay. Vyacheslav Borshev.
Hey, just call him Slava Claus, as he is officially known at over at Team Alpha Male.
Slava Claus. Okay, we'll go Slava Claus.
Hey, shout out to Slava Claus. Shout out to Team Alpha Male. Shout out to Coach Joey Rodriguez. Go check out that interview, where we actually talked about Slava Claus as well.
Shout out to Ross's favorite team in the world, Team Alpha Male. The most
underrated gym in the world. Don't at me.
I don't think they can be underrated, bro. They've been around for way too long.
And they're still underrated.
But it's okay. I'll let you have that one. Anyway, Slava Claus is fighting against a guy named Dakota Bush. That's going to be a banger, hopefully. I don't know. We didn't have a lot of choices on this card. Going to be completely honest. My next fight that I'm going with is a guy that I'm really high on, Bill Algio versus Joanderson Britto. I don't know too much about the Britto guy, but I do know Bill Algio is a stud, and he always brings the fight. I mean, his most recent fight was against Ricardo Ramos, where he took an L. Mm-hmm. But that was a really, really fun fight to watch. And actually, I remember one fight specifically against Spike Carlisle. I was like, oh my God, that was a sick fight.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see Bill Algio make a return this year. And then the final fight, really, it doesn't matter who Michelle Pejeda is fighting. It just doesn't matter.
You're one of the lucky ones that could really ours. I can't pronounce the name correctly, no matter how hard I try.
It just doesn't matter. Because he's going to do a backflip in the cage, and he's going to hit someone in the frickin' face with his shin, even though that's illegal. And it's going to be sick. He's going to do something spinny. He's going to do something, I don't know. He's just going to dance in there. He's going to look sick. He's going to have everyone. He's probably going to dance on the way to the octagon, dance on the way out of the octagon. he's just going to be an entertaining piece of the puzzle that night. So I'm very excited to see what he does. And also the guy that he fights against, I'm pretty sure, is going to be making his debut. Do you have his name on hand?
He's going to be making his debut, and that is fighter Andre Fialho, which I might butcher that. Who knows? I'm really good at doing that. But who knows?
And surprise, surprise, his manager is Ali. I mean, it seems like 50% of the UFC is managed by Ali.
It's yeah, and 50% of all Twitter accounts ran by Ali as well.
I'd say more like 90%.
Really does.
If you're a fighter of his, he probably has your account information.
It's probably like a part of the contract. You have to give me your Twitter account.
One derogatory tweet per month. To build hype.
Yeah, it's not even that much of a joke.
It's true.
Yes, sir. I do like that, but we got our first main event of the evening, and that is going to be number 8 ranked featherweight of the world, Giga Chikadze, taking on number 5 ranked Calvin Kattar. Of course, Giga's last fight was... this dude's just been on a freaking tear. Calvin Kattar, of course, had one fight last year. Got records, all sorts of records set against him when he took on Max Holloway. But Calvin Kattar is not a guy to be slept on because he was a top 5 fighter. He is a top 5 fighter for a very specific reason, and that's because he's really freaking good at what he does. So what do you expect from this fight, and who is going to win the first main event of the year?
It's really hard for me to pick against Giga in this fight. It's really, really hard because Kattar is a guy that's known a little bit for his toughness. I mean, no kidding, right? With that Max Holloway fight, think of how many strikes he absorbed. Giga, there is no such thing as toughness against a guy like Giga. If he touches you in the right place, guess what? You're going down in some pain.
Hey, it doesn't matter how tough you are, your liver's going to shut down just as much.
Yes. I mean, that Cub Swanson knockout was just insane. And it's not like he's
that Burgos
only
knockout.
Doing this one time. He's doing this consistently. He's doing this with submissions in some cases. So, I mean, this guy is well-rounded for the most part. I don't think Calvin Kattar has a strong enough ground game to really bring him into deep waters and test him like that. I think it's mostly going to play out on the feet. So in that case, I give the edge to Giga just because, like I said, he is a sniper, and I expect him to be hitting with more accuracy. And yeah, I think he's just gonna be more polished in there.
And it's hard for me too because I don't want to necessarily pick against Calvin. What I'm hoping for is I think Giga is going to win. Giga Chad takes this one, but what I'm hoping for is that Calvin makes it a really competitive fight. Or even if he wins, I don't think I would complain. I just want to see a competitive fight from Calvin just based off what we saw last time. I don't want that to become the new norm, you know?
Yeah. That would really suck if we're witnessing.
Because I like Calvin. He's a very likable fighter.
No, absolutely. He's a hardworking Bostonian.
You know, Juliana probably loves him.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But we're gonna see. I mean, that's the beauty of this sport is sometimes it doesn't even matter who's the best. It just matters who's the best that night. So I mean, maybe me and you are kind of on the same thinking, the same thought process, the same wavelength, you could say. But it doesn't matter. Come Saturday, it doesn't matter who's the best. It just matters who showed up that night and got the job done.
I think the odds are like pretty skewed towards Giga right now. I think Calvin should have some better odds for this fight. Hopefully he goes on and proves us that he deserves a little bit more respect than what the world and especially what Vegas is giving him right now. But please, for everyone out there, drop your predictions in the comments on YouTube, on Rumble, or hit us up on our socials on Twitter or Instagram. But that's about going to wrap it for us. I'll be honest, there wasn't really a whole lot that happened this last week that I could give a solid Nene of the Week award to. So I'm going to cheat because it's my show and I can do what I want. The award goes, the Nene of the Week goes to the No Fight Blues because that feeling is getting Nene because our fights are back. I'm going to go with the cop-out answer, Blake, but you know, or could it go to Shannon Bay's husband?
Yeah, JP.
JP. Does it go to JP actually on second thought?
I don't know. I feel bad talking about that stuff.
Right?
It's a rough situation.
That's
really what I hope. I hope that it's. And I've told you this in our DMs. I hope it's settled a little bit more privately, indefinitely, peacefully, and respectfully. Because that's just a very tough situation to go through for both sides, whatever the story is. Because we know in every story there's 3 sides to the story. 3 of them: her side, his side, and then somewhere in the middle lies the truth.
And I told you in our
just remember that.
What I hope happens is that JP fights the guy she's cheating on him with inside the octagon. Make that happen.
Even though that guy is 4 weight classes above him.
I don't care. I want to see that fight.
It's not going to happen in an octagon, brother. It might happen in the street, but it's not going to be in the octagon.
We'll put the octagon in the streets, and it's going to happen there.
Hey, make it happen, bro.
Hey, you know, we'll bring Jorge Masvidal out there from his street fighting days. He'll take on the role as the ref in that situation. It's going to be a good time.
Super necessary.
Jeez, what a mess that is. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking to the end. Definitely appreciate you all and love you all. And especially huge thank you to our fantastic Patreon supporters. If you want to go become a supporter, you can do that for starting at just $1 a month. It's up to $5 and $10. It helps keep the show running, helps me keep hooking my boys and the fans up with gear and some financial compensation for what they do, because they do a lot of hard work, and I greatly appreciate them. But it also gets you behind the scenes content, bonus content, early drops, as well as discounts on all merchandise. But, and with that being said, huge shout out to Ray Rodriguez for all your card collecting needs. Go on over to Instagram and follow at the Big Bat Box. Shout out to Ryan Watson and Neil Wiley. And Blake, your thoughts on the doldrums of the UFC fight year in one word or phrase?
What the hell did you just say?
Doldrums. Do you not know what a doldrum is? It's like boredom.
I guess. I mean, isn't that like a state or period of inactivity?
It's like boredom. It's kind of like a synonym for that. The doldrums.
So yeah, that's basically what I just said, right?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
State or period of inactivity. Yeah. Sayonara, like peace out. I don't ever want to see you again. That's my thoughts on it. Like, fights every weekend. Don't be a bitch.
That works. Ladies and gentlemen, fight every weekend and don't be a bitch. You've heard that here first from Blake. But thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see all of you in the next show you listen to. We got Icar songs coming out on Friday. We got our NFL playoff preview that comes out on Thursday. So go ahead, check all that great stuff out. And we'll see all of you lovely, lovely people in the next one. Go out and enjoy the first card of the year.